All right, let's go ahead and export our model. I'm going to select the low poly, file, export selection. I'm going to click on this blue arrow and I'm going to choose the data folder, and I'll name it sword underscore low, and we're going to export it as an FBX. Then hit export selection. I'll turn off the low poly layer, turn on the high poly layer, click on sword underscore high. I'm going to hit G to redo the last thing I did, which was file, export selection. Make sure I'm in the data folder, and this one I'm going to name it sword underscore high and hit export selection. Then in Substance Painter, um, if you open it up, it should look something like this. I'm going to go to File, New, where it says Select Template. I'm going to scroll down and choose let's just choose this one, PBR Metallic Roughness Alpha Blend. We're not using transparency, but we'll just use this anyway. Let's change this to 2048 for now. Where it says File, click on Select, and here is where you're going to navigate to your data folder to grab your low poly. So for me, that's Documents, where'd it go? Maya, Projects, Sword, Data, Sword underscore low. Open, and uncheck Auto Unwrap, and hit OK. It'll take a second to load. And then in here, I'm going to hit F, and I'm going to hold Alt, and I can rotate around and navigate in the same way that I do in Maya. One difference is I can navigate I can rotate the light around by holding Shift, right click, and drag. Okay. This isn't a lesson specifically on Substance Painter. This is just to kind of get us in a finished product, right? Finished, not perfect. So anyway, our UVs and our model. Next, let's go to the baking section. There's this little croissant looking icon. I'm going to click there. Change output size to 2048. Where it says high definition meshes, click on this little folder. Choose sword underscore high and hit open. Uncheck ID. Match changes from always to by mesh name, and we'll test the bake to see how it does. Click bake selected textures. So it should be baking on. We can kind of see it happening. It should bake on the details that we have on the high poly that don't exist on the low poly. So I'm going to click on this little paintbrush to go back to paint mode and check it out. So I'm going to hold shift and right click and drag, and we can see that those details look like they baked on pretty well, and we're not getting any baking errors. So that's excellent. And you can see if you come over here and click on this icon, it'll turn the wireframe on, and you can see now why you create a high poly, so that you can have a low amount of polygons with extra details that you normally wouldn't be able to fit in your poly budget. Great. All right, this is an excellent step. Let's go ahead and set up Substance Painter a little bit differently. I'm going to click on this paintbrush over here to go back to this normal mode, and then layers. And let's see, this is new, export, I see. All right, I'm going to click on display settings, environment map. I'm going to type in TOM, and this Studio Tomoko, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to scroll down, activate post effects. I'm going to make this larger so it's easier to see everything. I'm going to check tone mapping. Open up the tone mapping where it says function, change it from linear to sensitometric. And activate color profile, change this to sRGBF. That's good. Next, create a fill layer by clicking on this paint bucket. Name this curve, oops, CURV overlay, and then press enter. Select layer 1 and delete it. Curve overlay. Down here where it says properties and fill, scroll down. We can toggle these things on and off. Make sure that color is the only thing that's toggled on. Click on the word on this button, base color. Type in, you could just delete all that. Type in curve. And what we're looking for is this map right here. If you hover over it, it will look like your UVs. This was created when we baked our material. So I typed in the first part of curvature, right, and it showed up. So I'm going to click this, and it will create a fill layer with that in it. And you can see what it's doing is it's kind of adding edge highlights to everything, which it's too strong right now, but this will kind of help our textures pop quite a bit. All right, so I'm also going to click on this and go to 3D only for right now. And then over here, I'm going to change this from normal to the blending mode to overlay, and I'll turn it down to 60%. You can just click on this and turn it to 60 to turn that down. And from here, we'd want to save this. So File, Save As, and you're going to save it in the data folder of your project folder. Data, and I'll name it sword underscore V01 for the, and I know it's a SPP, so substance project file, substance painter. And I'll hit save. And then this is where we will pick it up next. But if you have issues with your bake, in other words, things are stretched or there are artifacts or something didn't import right, it's likely because your UVs need to be better or there's something wrong with the naming convention of your model. And if one of those two things are the case, that means you should go back to Maya, double check that everything is the same as the way I had it before exporting, and then do it again. Naming conventions, even if one, if one object has the wrong name and you're using the bake by name function, which we did here, it won't work properly. So yeah. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.